we already started the discussion, but
Yes.
we didn't record it. The one more, maybe this time also with examples, if you are okay with it, because we already decided the awards and everything.
Yes.
So how did it work, like for each film of the competition? Because I understood that for some of them you follow the projects.
Yes.
And what does this mean? And also which ones were the ones that you discovered, I don't know, because they were just sent and...
Okay. This is something we've been developing a lot in the past years because we receive more and more films. And it's all unknown directors, so it's good. Actually, this is part of my work. I do a lot of tracking projects. I don't read script. This is very important because we don't have to interfere in this, and we have to discover just the film. But it has two goals. First, to travel and to understand in the country how the film are being produced, how the producer work, and also to meet filmmakers and to have connections also with producer. They are producer we trust, and when they talk about us when they told us about the project, we know that we have to keep an eye on it. And also we follow a lot from the short films to the feature film, and this is important because then we know which film will be waiting for this year or also for next year, because I'm tracking project that will be finished in 2 years, in 3 years, project that won't ever be made sometimes also. And so I watch only the project that I'm tracking. And the selection committee watch all the projects. And this is also very interesting for me because they don't know. I know the project, so I met the directors. I know what, their intention. And sometimes when you know all of this, when you discover the film, you always try to be more. How do you say?
Subjective.
Yeah, I mean you know what he tried to do, and the committee they watch the film just as they watch as journalists, like the film will be released in France and they go to a press screening, so they just see the film as it is. So it's an interesting discussion between me and them, and I give them few tips about the films they'll be watching, but not every film that I know also. And also it's a way, we have this very specific organization, because when you select films for Cannes, it's not you have pressure from the industry, because like in the official competition they can have pressure, because for us it's debut film, so there's no pressure, but at least the industry is very important here in Cannes, because when you present the film in Cannes, then you have the possibility to sell it in a lot of countries. It has a very strong impact, and so I think we have to take this in count. That's why sometimes there are films that we like and we think maybe Cannes is not the right place. They would benefit more from another festival like Locarno, for example, where it's not a big market, it's more the press festival. So here I think it's both press and market, and when you go to the screening it's both buyers and press, and both are very important. And for me, if our programming is successful, if of course the press supported the film, but also if the industry is interested in the film. And the industry being interested in the film is not having a commercial films, it's just, for example, The Tribe. If the film was not in Cannes, it would have not been bought by a lot of distributors from a lot of countries. So it's a very interesting exposure for fragile film or difficult film to have this meeting of press supporting the films and also distributors buying the films. And this is, I think it changed a lot in the history of Critics Week. It always had the same goal, like discovering filmmakers, but I think the context changed a lot. And 10 years ago, we were watching maybe 600 films, and now we watch 1,200. There are more films being produced, and I think it's the work of the kind of work that Critics Week does is even more relevant now, to take 10 films out of this mass number of films. Also, it is important for us to keep it to 10 films because to make real choices. And I think there are more and more films, so we need to make choices. And yeah, so because of the context is different, because it's much more competitive, because now the distributors are, it's more and more difficult. We also have to take all this in count, because I think if it's just the Critics Week is not just about like us being proud of discovering someone and we are the only one to watch this film and just proud of our work, and because of 10 journalists agree with us, it doesn't make sense. It's not enough. If the goal, the aim is really that to discover a filmmaker and to give him a chance to reach an audience.
Yeah.
For us, this is something really, really important. So every day when we present a film, we're reading the reviews, and we're talking with the sales agent to know also if the film get interest from the distributors. Both parts are as important.
Can you also, sorry, it's the same question. I'm not asking another question. Can you also give us examples of films from this year that were followed, were being followed, and films that were not being followed, but were
yes.
I imagine that it happens more with shorts, no? With short films.
With short films.
Gente de Bien wasn't one of the examples you were following from before?
Yes, exactly. This is, for example, this Franco, we show his short film. Mm-hmm. Actually, we wanted selected the last one, but Directors Fortnite invited it before we did. So we really had this director in mind. Mm-hmm. And then I never met him before, but I knew his producer. He's French. So I've been talking to his producers in the past 2 years about the project, to know when it will be done, and he was very excited about it. So I mean, he made us very curious about the project. So that's typical kind of project that we've been tracking in the past 2 years. Then this year it was a very particular year because we had a lot of second-time directing films.
Yeah.
So it was another way of tracking projects, like from David Robert Mitchell, we presented his first film. So since then we've been following his work, or Nadav Lapid. Nadav Lapid, for example, we watched Policeman, his debut film 4 years ago, I think.
It was in Cannes?
For Cannes, yeah. And we hesitated a lot about the film, and we ended up to select another Israeli film that year, and the film went to Locarno. But we thought for Policeman was not achieved enough maybe to be in Cannes, and he went to Locarno where it got a very good exposure. And I think it was worth to wait for this film for him to be in Cannes.
Okay.
So it's also when you track project from first the debut film to the second film, it's also thinking also about festival strategy.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, very, very important. There are every year films that we like a lot that we end up not to select, and they go to Locarno or Venice, and it works perfectly for them. But I'm sure that this film in Cannes would not have the same attention they got, because Cannes is also very, very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to go or? Well, go ahead and ask next.
Yeah. Now, let's talk a little bit about the jury, the specific juries in this selection.
Yes.
Why these specific countries in both Nespresso Prize and the Jury Revelation was a specific decision among the components, the countries?
Why?
Huh?
Well, I didn't understand.
It was like in the Nespresso jury, Mexico, the US, the UK, Spain, and here.
The country?
Yeah. Argentina.
For the
Romania,
Nespresso jury, it's not really about the country, it was more about the personality, people that we like. We don't really. Of course, we try not to be like only European, but it's just really about personality.
because of them.
Then for you, it was more. We try to change country every year.
Yeah.
And for example, Argentina, I knew that there was, few film critics. This is a kind of country where there is still film criticism, not so many, but I was interested, especially because also they have all this young cinema. You presented a lot of debut films from Argentina, so I think it was relevant also to have an Argentinian point of view from a film critic also about international debut film. And Romania, that was also the case because of young Romanian cinema. Mexico also, but then it was more about meetings. We have to convince for each country because we don't finance. You're coming, so we have to find an institution locally who is interested in such a work and but I think we still have. There are a lot of countries where we want to do it. Even also country where film criticism. For example, we did it in China last year. We invited a Chinese guy, and in China there was. We did a lot of research, and at the end we just found one guy. Because
In all China.
in China,
What do you mean, just one guy?
like there was no.
There were no candidates.
There was no. They don't have a lot of film criticism in the real sense. Film criticism. They have a lot of journalists reviewing films in a very basic way. We just found one guy who had a very interesting blog from what I've heard, because we always ask from producers or directors advice because we can't read what they write. So
Of course.
Yeah.
that's why you always ask. So even though you go in a country where there are not so many people, I think it's still important. Even if it's just one guy in a country. For example, I went to Mongolia in last October to meet Mongolian directors, and I ended up to meet just a couple of guys